How many times have you heard, you know what? Buy an investment property, buy a couple, passive real estate investing, money just shows up. Mailbox money, that's my favorite. It's mailbox money. So we're going to talk to the one and only Brian Adamson and figure out, is mailbox money real? How you doing, man?
I'm good, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I don't remember how many books I read when I got started 20 plus years ago that promised mailbox money and it was going to be easy. I could be sitting on the beach. There's no work to be done. So did those books lie to me? What's going on?
I think mailbox money is as real as those sweepstake checks that come in the mail back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude, I
Oh,
bought it hook, line, and sinker. I was
yeah,
in. They had me hooked.
for sure. And so, just so everybody knows, it's not that we poo-pooing on the idea of going out and buying rentals, obviously, right? We both do it at a high level.
Hmm.
But we do want to kind of reset expectations because I think many people get into owning rental property and they flame out because they went into it thinking that it really is just mailbox money that doesn't require any work or if any very little, and they're sadly mistaken, especially if there's someone who says, you know what, I got the funds laying around in the bank, I'm just gonna go buy the thing and it looks to be in great shape, it ought to be pretty turnkey. And so, especially for those that just jump into it self-managing, thinking that it's like a turnkey operation, it's a nightmare waiting to happen, right? And I think that's
Right.
the realization that people come to, and they're just completely turned off by it, and they're like, "This experience was horrible," and it's like, but you went in. It's horrible because you went into it with the wrong expectations.
Yeah, absolutely correct. I mean, um, again, I freely admit that I, again, mailbox money is a phrase that I read and I thought as I got this started. And again, just people don't know, I invest out of area, not out of state, 2.5 hours away. Um, my first property, Brian, my first property experience would have busted 99% of the people out. So here it goes. First off, I come to real estate investing after suffering an 80% loss in the stock market. So I'm already defeated. I spend a year looking in the Bay Area, wasting time because it doesn't cash flow. Then we find Fresno, California. We buy Norris Drive for 107 grand. We're excited. I actually remember going to dinner after we closed, like, yes, we did it. Our retirement is going to be better. And then the first couple that we moved in, we did everything right. Credit check, income check, references. So that was all clean. It's just that life kicked us in the teeth. The family got divorced 2 weeks after moving in. And then the husband who stayed, the wife left, became a professional alcoholic, never paid rent again, trashed my unit. It took me $1,000 back in 2003 to get him out. And then 15 grand to repair the shit he broke. So yeah, I think real estate tests you. And it was only by the grace of God that Olivia asked the most important question: did we do anything wrong?
Mm,
And the answer was no. And we gave it another shot. But real estate's going to test you, man. And if you go in with the wrong expectations, it's going to treat you bad.
yeah, yeah. It was so interesting early on when I got started in 2006. I was self-managing everything, particularly because I didn't even know property management companies existed. Right, I was doing things by default, not by design back then. And
Right.
I remember being so excited because at this time I probably had like 5, 6, 7 rentals, and I'm in my early to mid 20s, and I'm like telling my parents, like, you got to get involved in this. My dad was a firefighter for 30 years. My mom was a cashier at a grocery store, but they always like had good credit and was very responsible with their money. I'm like, you need to like get involved with this. And I remember they got involved, but my dad treated the rental properties as if they were his home, his primary residence. And so, he over improved them in many cases. And then he really, how can I say it? He really invested in the tenants at a higher level than he should have been, right? And he really took them for their word. And so for him, the inconsistency in what they said versus their actions, the lack of keeping the house up the upkeep as if he would have desired for it to be, all of those things really just emotionally took so much of a toll on him that he was like, man, you could buy these things from me. Like emotionally, this frustrates me more than anything else in my life. And I thought that this was to help me to set up for my retirement when I'm done with the fire department.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I just want people, to your point, to have the right expectations going in. And also to realize that I really do think real estate tests you the first 3 to 5 years to see how committed you are.
For sure.
Because now, my portfolio's, big enough, and we probably spend 4 hours a month because we have the systems, the process, the teams, the exceptions. We have a Friday check-in for 15 minutes. We just do all the things. We don't really think about it anymore. Maybe, 1 or 2 emergencies a year.
It's interesting
it
to say
can't,
that, Mike,
yeah.
without me knowing that about you. So I have a Monday and a Thursday. Monday is with my project manager. That normally takes about 30 minutes, just about the different projects we got going on. And then Thursday is about a 30-minute with the property management company. And then typically another 30-minute with my project manager. And that's just because we got such large renovations going on right now. But when you look at that, I guess that's 6 hours a month, right? For over 100 units. So you're right. Once it does get to that point eventually, but what if we didn't spend the 4 hours? What if we didn't spend the 6 hours? I think that's where we get in a dangerous place by thinking it's completely, at no point should it ever really be hands off, in my opinion. Like, you got to keep your pulse on the operation.
The reason we have Friday calls, and they are non-negotiable, is because if we didn't have the Friday calls, I would have calls on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
And they would all be at different times in emergency. Things don't get better with time. So my team knows that if something comes up, they text me, because I don't really answer calls. They text me, and then, I call them when I'm free. But it's discipline. It's knowing the team. It's process and procedures. It's when you stumble across something new, you set a new standard. And, I'm 20 years in now and spending but I got to tell you, when I had 8 units, we were probably doing 4 or 5 hours a week. It was because everything was brand new, and we were setting stuff up. And let's not forget, I fired the first 5 property managers. So we went back to step 0 every time we fired some. So I get it. It's hard. It is worth it. I would argue that it's almost mailbox money now, but that's 20 years deep.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I just thought it was important for us to talk about this because there's so many people that are in a prime position to go out and start building a portfolio.
Yeah.
And, relationships typically don't fail because of poor communication, although it's set that way. They fail because of unmet expectations. And I hate to see people just, foregoing this great opportunity because they're just going into it with the wrong expectation. Like, it's not mailbox money, and it's not get rich tomorrow, but it is get rich eventually. And it absolutely can be everything you want it to be, but it's going to require some attention and some work. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah, I think it's back to your story of your dad and your mom. If you go in with the right expectations, right, you don't over improve it. You're not living there. You realize tenants will take you, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. If you go in with just, sort of black and white rules, it's all about those expectations. Because again, I think real estate's going to test you the first 3 years. It certainly tested us.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Brian, where can people find you?
Where you kind of saw almost all the scenarios, right? And then it's like, that again, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But
I
you're
get
right,
a lot
up
of
to
that
that
now.
point, that discovering that it's gut punch after gut punch. It's like, are you kidding? Would they do that? Oh my God, I can't believe. And then it's like, oh yeah, I've seen that a couple times already.
Oh, you again, my friend. Oh, people. It's so funny. Brian, you do a lot of amazing stuff. Where can people find you?
Brian Adamson Official, YouTube, Instagram, and everywhere else.
You got it, man. Thank you.
All right.